Along the edge of the old forest, where the trees met the open path, a spider had chosen her place. She worked every evening as the light fell, pulling thread from herself and weaving it between the tall grasses in patterns that no human hand could have planned, arcs within arcs, each one supporting the next. The whole thing alive with tension and balance. By morning, the web was done. It hung in the early light, trembling slightly with the small movements of air that moved through the grass. And then the wind came. Not always a great wind. Sometimes just a gust, or a child running past, or a bird that had miscalculated its angle. The web shook, stretched, and then tore, sometimes a small tear, sometimes large enough to bring the whole structure down. The spider began again. A traveler who came that way often noticed her. He watched over several weeks, first with casual interest, then with something closer to amazement. Every morning the web was done. Every afternoon or evening it was gone. Every next morning it was done again. One cool morning he stopped and crouched close to the web, watching the spider finish the last outer ring of thread. "Why do you do this?" he asked. He knew she could not answer in words, but the question was genuine. He sat and watched. An hour after the web was finished, the morning sun rose to the right angle and its light hit the web through the trees. The dew that had settled in the night on every strand of thread caught the light and held it. Each droplet became a tiny sphere of silver and gold and pale blue. The web was no longer just a web. In the low morning light, with the dew on it, it was one of the most beautiful things the traveler had ever seen. He sat very still for a long time. Then he understood. The spider was not simply building a trap for food. She was building something that would be, for a few minutes each morning, completely, extraordinarily beautiful. That beauty lasted exactly until the dew dried and the wind came. Then it was gone. And the next day she built it again, for another few minutes of perfect, fragile light. She had never stopped. She had never complained. She had never decided that the effort was not worth the result. She had simply built and been broken and built again, and in the building, created something that justified everything. The traveler continued on his journey, but told the story many times after that. He said, "I spent 3 weeks watching a spider rebuild a broken web every single day. And I think it was the most quietly joyful thing I have ever witnessed." Moral: patience and persistence create beauty that makes every struggle worthwhile. The fact that something breaks does not mean the building was wasted. Spider.